Hey guys, how's it going today? Happy Friday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I've got another special guest for you guys. Like, we're on fire in this community. I love it. Love seeing it every day. And actually, on John Dane's interview in the comments, you had mentioned Alex. Everybody, this is Alex Machuca. Give him a nice warm welcome here. And you said you were killing it too, very quietly in the background. So I had to figure out how to get you on to hear what you
Yeah,
got going on, man.
I saw it on John Danes. Big fan of John Danes. Love that guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Good dude.
Cool, man. Well, welcome. So, why don't you just get started by telling us maybe the name of your agency, your niche if you got one, and
Yeah.
where are you from as well, please?
So I'm originally from Fair Lawn, New Jersey. The name of my company is Lynn Crest Media. A lot of people ask me what that is. That's a street I grew up on growing up, and we are in the mortgage niche.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, you and I just got done chatting a little bit, and you're killing it. Can't wait to dig in, right? But maybe you could just take us back to, well, tell us when you signed up for Nurture and Close, and maybe like where you were at agency wise or career wise just before you joined Agency Alchemy, if you can.
Yeah. So it's actually a crazy story. So just before I started, I decided I wanted to start my own digital marketing agency. I joined this event production company. I had a friend who was doing great and he was putting together these Instagram pop-up exhibits. Are you familiar with the Museum of Ice Cream?
No.
So the Museum of Ice Cream is basically like this Instagrammable pop-up exhibit for millennials where they go in and they take pictures, right? So they did one in Scottsdale and it was great. And then they were looking for a new concept called Tacotopia, and they needed an investment of about $250,000. And I have a lot of friends who pretty well off, so they're like, "Do you know anybody who would invest?" So I found somebody to invest. He got cold feet because they told me, "Listen, if you find somebody to invest, we'll give you 10% of the company. Like that's how much we need the capital, but we'll give him 25% for $250,000." So I find an investor, he gets cold feet, he backs out. And I think to myself, you know what? This is a pretty good marketing opportunity because people are coming in and taking pictures, right? What's better than paid ads, free ads, right? So what I did was I actually cold called Pepsi and I cold called Cholula. And I said, hey, guys, I know that you guys are looking for marketing opportunities. You guys advertise at festivals all the time. This is essentially a festival on steroids. It's longer than 3 days. People are coming, taking pics, you know. So anyways, they both ended up giving me $250,000 just to put their name on it. And I kept all of the equity for myself. So instead of getting 10%, I got 25%.
Dude,
Fast
that's
forward.
genius.
Yeah. Fast forward a couple months, we're in LA, we're in the Santa Monica Promenade, and our ads partner kind of was like getting a little bit of cold feet. The ads weren't hitting as well. So I cold call Gary V's partner, Ryan Harwood. He's the CEO of Gallery Media Group, and they do kind of the media side for VaynerMedia. And Gary and Ryan were actually interested in equity in the company, and they wanted to run a test with that. Pandemic hits, all my dreams crushed,
Oh
right? Gary
no.
Vee is my hero. I was like on cloud nine. And, that was a really big low for me because, like, we lost everything, didn't really have much money. And I started, I was like, all right, I'm really getting into Facebook ads because I needed to learn that as part of the process. I started, I figure out, I want to start a digital marketing agency. Start out with doing sales for this other guy because you got to start somewhere, right? Doing sales for this other guy, trying to learn under him. And he was using this, you probably know of them, Contact Smarter.
Oh yeah.
It's like this other kind of like way cheaper version of GHL. And I used that and like, we weren't getting good results. So I needed to look for something better. I came across GHL and it completely changed the game. My ability to deliver a quality service, which I think is a lot of the problem with a lot of agency owners starting out. They're worried about, am I going to be able to deliver, what I'm actually selling? And GHL just kind of like put me at ease because I knew the software was incredible. And, fast forward, June, we got our first ever sale with our first client, who, by the way, is still with me. Um,
Wow. So you,
and
you joined Nurture and Close, and then in June, and you got your first client shortly after.
Right. Got my first client shortly after. What I love about Nurture and Close, and I tell this all the time to people, they're like, oh, what's so good about this course? What separates it? Listen, the difference between this course and all the other courses is this course will literally hold your hand and walk you through getting started. Other courses don't really do that. We freeze up a little bit. Oh, it froze up a little bit on my screen.
back.
But
Keep going, bro.
basically hold my hand through getting started. And, I remember, my cousin was living with me. My cousin's now the COO of my company. He went from making $300 a month to making over 50K a year now. And, as we scale, he's going to grow with us. You've probably seen him in the community, Joe Luciano.
Oh yeah.
He's a freaking beast. I mean, he really, really is immersed in GHL, and he's my expert now. Obviously, we have about 20 employees now. I think 17 employees if you include VAs and things like that. But my first sale in June, I got my first sale in June. We got to 50K a month in 90 days, and then within 8 months, we're at 100K a month.
Wow,
100K.
man. Wow. So you're now over 100K a month still?
Yeah, it was this big milestone. It was amazing. I knew that I was going to hit 100K a month, and my family, we've been through some tough times. So I flew back to Florida. I rented a yacht. I took my whole family on there. We all had this big group hug. My mom looked at me all teary eyed, like she's never been so proud of me, because I had to break the news to her, like, hey, we just broke 100,000 a month. Her mind was like,
dude, that is so
and then I ended up getting engaged on that yacht. So that was last week, and it's been great.
Yes, sir. Man, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
crazy. So like so many other people, your original plan got crushed by the pandemic largely.
Crushed.
Not much you can do about that, right? And right before we hopped on here, you said you're a pretty competitive guy, so I'm sure you're seeing all these other people having success.
Right.
You hop in, and by month 5, which is exactly what happened when we started FCA, using the method that I give to everybody in Nurture and Close.
Right.
50 grand a month. How many employees was it? Was it just you?
It was just 2 of us. Just 2 of us.
2, yeah. Okay, cool. So me and Ryan hit 50 grand a month. I was doing the ads and marketing and fulfillment and stuff, and he was doing sales. So we're just sitting with each other, hustling every day. And then so then by month 8, you hit 100 grand, right? Is that right? And then so I'm just curious. I'm sure other people want to know. What was sort of it like to go from 2 guys at 50 grand a month to
we had, and let me correct myself, it's actually 3 guys, because we had another guy, Andres Ponce, who's also in, you've probably seen him pop up. These guys are very active in the Facebook group. I'm not. I kind of take a backseat. I let them do their thing. And I would say about 3 of us. Andres came on a little bit later, but he's been an absolutely critical part of our company. And what was your question? What was the difference?
Well, no, just like what happened between that 50 and 100K, because like your team grew a lot. You doubled in revenue in like 3 months. I mean, can you just explain sort of what that dynamic was like?
Yeah.
Who did you hire first? How did you get clients? Right.
So what we do is, we really focus on, ads are easy for us. Like that's the easy part. It's the following up, obviously, with the automated messages. But one thing that we implemented a human aspect. So we actually have people calling on these leads on behalf of the brokers, which I had the, I guess, pleasure or luck of having a lot of friends who are mortgage brokers. So I was able to say, hey, what do you hate most about your job? I hate cold calling, right? All right, we're going to eliminate that from your job. You're only going to be talking to people who set appointments. Now, when it comes to, I talked to the person who kind of like really changed the way I thought was Victoria Kennedy, who I'm sure you know. I had a call with her, a consultation call, because I was having trouble with my sales. And this is like maybe even before we hit 50K a month. She told me, hey, listen, stop trying to do everything yourself. I get that I can tell you don't trust anybody to do what you're doing. And that's a problem. You need to trust other people. You have to show them how to do it. So what I did was I started recording Loom videos for every small tedious task. Loom video. And this way, a monkey could do it, right? Could do my job. But if you could find somebody to do something 70% as good as you can do, that's a win, right? Because you're never going to find somebody who can do it 100%. Right. But if you can find somebody to do it 70%, they'll grow into that 100%. And I think what we've done really, really well is, like I said, I think we have about 17 employees now, is we've hired really, really, really well. Meaning we have people that are bought in. I mean, when we get on these Slack calls, because these people have been with me since 50K a month. So we got on these Slack calls, man, and they're like, 100K a month? Are you kidding me? Like everybody is just so excited about the projections of like where we can go. I was telling you before, we're averaging about 15 new sales a month. Okay. And that's just with like 3 sales guys. I'm hiring 4 new ones. They're already trained. We're just launching them this week. But if we change absolutely nothing and keep things exactly the same and sell things at our lowest price point, which is 3,500, that's 50K in new recurring revenue every month. There's no reason why we shouldn't be at 500K a month by December. I think we'll blow past that.
That is awesome, man. So yeah, you got so proficient that you know you're working with like what I guess you call economies of scale now. You can scale up because you got so dialed and your product's so good and you're charging so much for it that basically all you got to do is fill the pipeline and get some other people to help with the sales on the calls, right? I mean, that's
Right.
the beauty of like this whole thing is I just you know it's crazy to me that people have separate price packages really like most agencies still operate like that. They've got like too many options or they let the client dictate what it.
Right.
Like if you can just go, look, we listen to you, right, Mr. Mortgage Broker guy, and we know that you don't like doing this, and this. Are those all pain points for you? Because that's what your peers have all told us, and what all of our clients have told us. Yeah, it'd be really nice if you great. So how much would that be worth to you? What's one deal? It's probably make it back in one deal if you get them one new
Right.
customer.
Exactly. And that's what we do. I tell all our sales guys, I go, listen, we're not sales guys. We're digital marketers. Your job is not to sell them. Your job is to show them a clear path to ROI. So we actually break down numbers for them. We're like, hey, this is what our worst performing clients do. Let's value your commission at $3,000. Do the math.
I love it. Yeah,
This is a no
it's
brainer for you.
yeah, that's what I would call math logic, and it works really, really well.
But yeah, it works very well.
Yeah, so like once they're emotionally bought it, emotionally is kind of a strange word in this context, but once they are saying, yeah, if you could remove all that stress from my life and the things that I hate, what do you got for me? Then it goes
Right.
on to the math logic part where it's like, well, this is how we justify our price point, and this is how you can justify it to yourself, your family, partner, whatever, right? And our goal is to put money in your pocket, and we know you're never going to leave. You keep making money from this thing, so
Right.
pretty straightforward. That's why performance is great, man. And I notice your price point is really high too. Like,
Well, that's our lowest price point. Our normal price point is 5,000 per month. If we can't sell them at 5,000 per month, we'll go down from there. But our price point is actually 5,000 per month. So
that's
when I give those projections, I give the most conservative. That's why I'm saying, hey, 500K by December is easy because what I did was 15 times 3,500, not even 15 times 5.
there you go. Love it. So maybe for people, because like I'm releasing a new training called SWAS Agency, which stands for Software with a Service, which is basically, exactly how we teach folks who've done what you've done, right? So you've got this awesome software like GoHighLevel, or it can be other software too, but really that's the best one on the market right now. And then you've got this service attached to it that's driving value with it, right? So, but usually what people think is, oh, I'm going to charge $50 a month for the software. It's like, no, the software is the service, and the service is the software, and you raise your price based on value. So, like, can you maybe tell folks where you started off price point wise, and maybe what your thought process, like, did you raise it over time as you got more confident?
Yeah.
How did,
So one of the things that I always tell people, because sometimes I'll have calls with like people in the community that, ask for help or whatever. And I tell them all the same thing, like, dude, why are you charging $1,500 now? I promise in 6 months, you'll be charging like 5,000. Just skip all that. For me, I think I was a little different. I'm 32 years old. I've had success in different things, but for me, like, making money working for somebody else is just not fulfilling for me. I wanted to make money for myself. So, but, with that being said, I've dealt with, I mean, not a lot of people have the nerve to cold call Pepsi and ask for 250,000, you know what I mean? So I'm used to big
yeah,
ticket things. And I think that was an advantage for me. But I tell people all the time, like, if you're selling your service for 1,500 because you're scared to ask for 3,000, you're just flat out wrong. Like, your service is worth more. Don't be scared to act. Like, you shouldn't start out and work your way up. Just start out at the 5, man, or start out at the whatever you're doing. I didn't start out anything below 3,500.
that's awesome. But that's an advantage. You are right. That's an advantage. Your confidence level at that price point, sure,
Right.
clearly
Right.
show, which is great. So Cool. Maybe if you can imagine for a second that someone doesn't have all that confidence and experience with higher ticket things, do you have any sort of sage advice for them? Because I know at the beginning we talked
Yeah.
that you sort of have like a few nuggets that you wanted to drop for everybody.
Yeah. Well, right. Math is a trump card, right? So your job is not forget about selling them. Like the service sells itself, but if you can show them a clear process to ROI, so you need to like interview whoever's in your niche and ask them how much a customer is worth to them and make that math make sense. If I had advice to give to people just starting out, there's a few things. One, and you might disagree, right? I can only talk about what's worked for me. What's worked for me isn't necessarily going to work for other people. I'm sure people do things a lot differently and have had more success than I have. But, with that being said, one of the things that changed for me was demos are much more effective than calls. And there's a logic behind this. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners. I think it covers both when you do a demo. Some people like to see things, right? Some people are okay on the phone. So for me, the demo, when I started doing demos, that really changed. And then of course, talking face to face, people trust you a little bit more than just over the phone, especially if you are not confident about selling big ticket. Get face to face with them, man. That's going to help you a lot. The other thing is, I got this from Victoria Kennedy. Always ask your prospect what they like about the service, and then ask them what they don't like about the service. The reason you want to ask them what they like about the service is because they're going to tell you what they like about the service. And that whole time they're literally just convincing themselves why they should buy, right? I like this, and this. They're just refortifying all that stuff that you spoke about. The other thing is ask for the card on the call. Don't ever say, hey, yeah, I'll send you an invoice. That's what was happening. I made like 10 sales that they verbally agreed to it. And I'm like, all right, I'll send you the contract and the invoice, get that signed. And nobody signed up.
Totally. Yeah.
So ask for the card on the call for sure. Don't let them get off the phone without giving you a card. What I say is I ask them what they like. Hey, what do you like about this to say? And then I ask them what they don't like. And that's their opportunity, their one opportunity to say that they don't like the price. And if they don't like the price, I'll say, listen, I could hook you up. If you want to sign up with me on this call, I'll drop the price. This is how much we're saving you. And by the way, you'll be grandfathered in. That price will never go up on you over the course of a year. We're saving you X amount. Keep in mind, we have a very high retention rate, right? For another thing for me, like I said before, is learn to delegate. Learn to trust other people. You're not going to be able to grow as quickly. I had the same conversation with my brother. By the way, he's scaling. I got him into this because I saw the opportunity, and he's always been very entrepreneurial. I think he's only a few months in. He's at 40K a month.
Wow, good for him.
He's scaling way faster than I am, and he's doing great. Yeah, I saw that conversation between you guys about trophies.
Yeah.
Listen, we grew up as athletes. We're very competitive. We love trophies.
Yeah. So
That's what it is. We love trophies.
And I so it's funny because people who know me know that, like, if I get heated about something, it's usually something totally irrelevant in life.
You were heated?
No, but like sometimes people are like, oh, you felt really passionate about this trophy thing. And I'm like, I don't really care, like I'm not sitting around thinking about trophies all day,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's funny. I think just to go back to personality type, right? Like I have a good friend, Stephanie, who's in the Cairo niche, and she was in our program very early on. We're just good friends, and then she went through all these other people's sales training programs and everything, and she's just like, what motivates me is like I'm a mom of a bunch of kids. I'm a creative. I have to be creating every day to feel good. Like, so she gets bored if it's just like churning out money and there's nothing to do. She's like, oh, I got to be doing something, right? And then she's like, on sales calls, like my motivator is not to get them to say yes on the first call. I'd rather like be pretty chill about it and show the doctors that I'm different. And that just works for her. She has a great agency, Mm-hmm. So like you have to realize what works for you is, and then like play to your strengths, right? Like you also said you're a Gary Vee fan. I think he's like self-awareness is so important in business. So if you are competitive and a trophy motivates you, like I'm not going to be the guy to sit over here and be like, no, bro, don't do that. Don't be successful. I'm going to be like, you do you, right? Like do it then. But like in our community, I just don't like, I love when I see people being successful, but I'd rather jam with you one-on-one like this than be like,
Sure.
get this award that will be sitting next to some other award, next to another award. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
and some of those things, like not to like, talk bad about other people, but like, do you know who Billy Wilson is? I think his name is Billy Wilson. So there's this guy on YouTube. He's like this online guru that I used to watch all the time.
okay.
And he just recently made an Instagram post about him getting the $1 million ClickFunnels thing.
Okay.
And then he talked, and this is a guy that like I looked up to for like a year,
Yeah.
looking at all his videos. And he's writing about like, he's like, my agency has finally got to 60K a month. It took me 3 years to get there. And I'm like,
That's what I'm talking about with the trophy.
I was like, what?
I know. I'm just like, dude.
What?
I know. So
This is the guy that I looked up to.
yeah, yeah.
And he's probably a great guy, but
And you just have to be careful. Like my whole thing with stuff is, I don't have the biggest customer base in the space. I don't have the biggest Facebook group. It's much larger.
you should.
No, yeah, maybe, but that's the point. Is like for me, I care much more about getting results and skipping all the fluff and everything than anything else, right? I care
Right.
very little about the rest. And
Right.
people who are after that, I attract them, and people who are not, maybe, I'm not the most well-known guy in the space or whatever, but I'm totally okay with that because like when people are looking for this type of help, the word of mouth usually travels back, and here we are, right? Like so anyway, we kind of got on a wild hair there. But, so what other nuggets did you want to kind of drop here? I know you sort of said you had a little list. Was there anything else, any sage wisdom you wanted to drop?
Well, I think I wrote it down. And we covered the other one, don't devalue your service starting out, right?
Yeah,
But those were really the difference makers for me. I think that the database reactivation is just an incredible way to get started with no money.
totally.
You don't need money to get started out with the database reactivation, and you could literally put money in their pocket right away. That's what started me out. So, I think that, and that's really what separates, I think, Nurture and Close from you guys have tangible, like, it's like you guys literally have the tools for anybody with zero money to get started. And I think the problem with a lot of these other courses are like, yeah, you got to do this, you got to invest in this. It's like not everybody has the money to do that.
No doubt. Yeah.
So that's been the database reactivation, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like I can actually
Yeah.
make money right away without
Yeah. I mean,
having.
and the crazy part is, man, I've taught like a few thousand agency owners that tactic, and for the life of me, I don't know why, but people forget about it. They're like, they get distracted and they're like, change their pricing and packaging, and instead of focusing like you have on what's best for their client, they go from tactic to tactic to tactic, And
Right, and that's another thing. That's the whole reason why I added the human element of calling them rather than just doing automated texts, is because I was listening to my clients. I think the difference between us and the mortgage industry, I think there's a huge gap in the mortgage industry right now. All of these lead generation companies, they're just focused on their profit margins and their cost per lead, where we literally focus on solely like, how do we deliver the best quality service possible? Yes, we're $1,000 or $2,000 more expensive, but as a result, it's $20,000 to $30,000 more ROI. All of these other companies, like, they have such low price points, and I think it's because they're like, oh, we're just sell these easier, but for us, like, what really worked for us is we're trying to position ourselves as a high quality service. We truly go above and beyond the call of duty of what people in the mortgage industry are used to. I think, the beauty of this is, like, when we get on calls with people, the first thing we ask them is, have you worked with a lead generation company before? And the reason we ask that is because we know that if they have, the bar is set so low that we look like rock stars to them. And then by the end of the call, everyone is telling me, everybody is like, I've literally never heard of anything like this before.
Wow.
I've never heard of anything like this before. I've been needing something like this for a while. And I'm not joking, Rob. 65 to 75% of our calls are people saying, even if they don't buy,
Yeah.
they're like, I've never heard of anything like this before. If what you guys, are saying is true and you do all this stuff, then, so I think, I think the reason also why we've been doing so well is because we've been able to separate ourselves from the competition for delivering a high quality service.
Somebody told me this. I forget who. This is a long time ago, but what you're doing is you're getting your client closer to the sale, right? So your
Right.
service is more valuable to them because they have to do less. There's less gaps between.
Right. And there's even little nuances, right? Like in the mortgage industry, pre-application forms are very important, right?
Yeah.
So like we're like, oh, you know what? Why don't we just like reach out to the leads a day before the call and say, hey, listen, we know you're talking with John tomorrow. If you want the call to go by a little bit quicker, why don't you go ahead and fill out this form before you speak to him? And we'll get them to fill out the pre-application form before they even speak to the broker.
That's
So
awesome.
we try and literally do everything aside from wiping their butts, right? To get them closer to the sale.
I love it, man. That's a great way to put it. Awesome, bro. So like for anybody who's not in our programs, like what would you say to them if maybe they're on the fence or they're looking around and they're not sure what to do? What would your advice be to them on that front?
You're leaving money on the table. And it's so funny. We actually, John and I were in a Clubhouse chat. I don't know if you're familiar with Clubhouse, but we're in that room and we're talking with a bunch of other agency owners and e-com people. And John and I were just praising GoHighLevel.
Yeah.
And John was saying, he's like, I don't care what agency owner you are. Like, if you're not using GoHighLevel, like you're probably not delivering like as good of a service as you could be. And I remember one of the guys like getting offended by that. And he just started asking a bunch of questions, e-com. And then I jumped into the call like this. You have like, I can second what he's saying. This is the best software out there. I feel like I can't, and this is going to sound really maybe bad, but like when I talk to other agency owners and I'm like, do you use GoHighLevel? And they don't know what it is. I'm like,
Bro,
dude, you gotta get it together, man. Because the more people that get high level, like it just, what this software does completely separates you from all other marketing agencies out there. It's not only that, it's the network, right? Within Facebook, the fact that you could take a snapshot from an agency that's doing great and just take that from them and use it as your own, and now you're delivering a world-class service.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that, and starting out, I got to give thanks to this guy, Brandon Packer.
Yeah.
Who is one of the best human beings that I've ever met in my entire life. We've become very good friends over the course of this past year, and we're just online friends. We've never met in person, but he selflessly, I mean, when I met him, I would annoy him. I'm sure he was so annoyed by me. Just asking him, I mean, he was like helping me out with all these things and helping me understand it. And he didn't ask for anything in return. This guy's got, we're on Skype calls. He's got 3 kids he's got to take care of. He's a super dad, and he's helping me at the same time.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely pivotal to my success, and he's asked for absolutely nothing in return. The beauty of Nurturing Close is there's so many people out there that are so excited about the software that they're willing to give back because of what Nurturing Close has done for them. And that's the reason I hop on calls sometimes with people, because I feel like I have to give back because this class has given me so much. I've taken other agency courses. My life completely changed. I lived in a small apartment. I live in a huge house with a pool. I have a 5-bedroom house, and I'm just so fulfilled and happy in my life. I'm happier than I've ever been in my whole entire life. And I really have.
You're getting engaged. You bought a new house. Like, what's next? You're going to get married, start having some babies running around?
Yeah. Hopefully we'll start having some babies soon. But listen, the next goal, people look at me like I'm crazy. The next goal is $500,000 a month. And it's so funny. I love when people, you'll notice when you tell people things, I look at people and I'm going to get to 10K a month. I was cleaning up my house the other day, Rob, and I found this Post-it note. Okay. This was a Post-it note that I left at the beginning of this was my goal. Okay. I just took it off because I keep it here. Look at this. Oh,
here you go. Put it right in front of your face. Sorry. What's this? Oh, hang on. 3K per month, 3,500.
That was my goal.
Wow.
That was one of my goals. And I was cleaning up my old house when I was moving, and I found that Post-it note. And I remember, because I was like, this is my goal. My girlfriend's like, write it down. Write it down. So I wrote it down. And as I'm cleaning my house to move into my new house, or not even my house, my apartment, to move into my house, I find that, and I kept that. I was like, I got to hold on to that. But it's crazy because people will look at you you know, you're like, hey, I want to do 10K a month. They're like, all right, yeah, like hope you could do that. Hope, yeah, man, good luck. Like I really hope you get there.
Best of
And
luck
yet
with
the way
that,
they say
right?
it, I take it as such like disrespect. I'm like, oh, you don't think I can get there? And now those same people that were doubting me, like, or that you know, maybe you're looking at me, like now they're asking me for jobs. Like now they see what we're doing. And it's funny, like now, like even my mom is like, yeah, papa, like, you know, like being encouraging, but I could see in her eyes, she wasn't, you know, too confident. And then I'm like, I'm at 50, I'm going to get to 50. And then I get to 50 and she's like, wow, like, you know what I mean? And we're at 100. And I tell her, I go, Mom, I go, at the end of the year, I go, you think this is great? At the end of the year, we'll be at 500. And she looked at me and she goes, no doubt. No
Dude,
doubt.
that's
It's
awesome.
like, every milestone, I'm proving them wrong. Every milestone.
That is so cool,
So,
man. So cool.
yeah.
Well, bro, many congrats to you.
Thank you.
I wish you all the blessings, and like I think there's a reason why Brendan, you know, helped you, and you're going to help someone else probably, is because that's the whole reason why we created this community. I could have just like shared my secrets or whatever, and gone to my grave not helping anybody. But like when I spoke to Brandon, he was in a really bad spot before he got going really fast, but he was in a bad spot when I hopped on the phone with him. I was like, bro, you just gotta make it happen. You can do this. You can do this. And
Well,
he was
listen,
starting to
Brandon,
get
we're teaming up
inspired.
on another project.
Are you really?
Yeah, we're gonna team up on another project. That's my guy. He's my best friend online.
Online, yeah.
He really is, man. That's my guy. Listen, I know his kids. Like I talk to his kids on, like that's my guy.
That's
And
awesome, dude.
that's the
Well,
thing. Like the people in this group are incredible, man.
well, maybe we can have a jam session. We'll have a handful of you guys on, and we could do an open Q&A or something. Because you guys are awesome.
Me and Brandon were talking about that. We're like, we wish that they did like a conference or like
Yeah.
something, so we could all meet each other. Because I met so many amazing people in this group, and like I'd be there in a heartbeat, man.
Dope, man. I'll put that together in the next couple of weeks, and I'll invite you guys, and the community can just fire up questions, like do mini clubhouse in the group, but on video.
Yes, yes.
Cool. Well, dude, thank you so much, brother. All the blessings.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah,
thanks for everything, man. And I'm sure you must feel so fulfilled. You've changed so many lives, man. And that must be like the greatest feeling in the world.
It's the best. I'd rather sit here and hear all this stuff about your success than anything else.
Well, listen, I'll send you and Brandon invites to the wedding, all right?
Let's go, brother. Let's go. All right, Alex. Thank you so much for your time, buddy. We'll see you later.
All right, man. Thank you, Rob. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. If you guys have questions for him, just hit the comments below in the Facebook post, and be reasonable about response times, of course. Be respectful, but I'm sure he's happy to help. All right.
Awesome, guys.
Yep.
All right. Have a good one, Rob. Bye.